Hello, HolyWireMod here. Welcome to tutorial 23, where we're going to be taking a look at the timer library. Now, we're going to be using init shared and seal init.lua from our Gmod folder, just standard setup, and we're only going to actually be coding in init. Now, prior to going into sweeps, which we will be soon, we have to really understand timers and networking. Those two are pretty useful if you want to make some nice sweeps. Timers are very useful globally, so if you want to make a timer for your game mode, for example, or you want to make a crazy teleporting zombie, which is what we're going to be doing, we're going to be needing to use timers. So let's get into that. So we have our basic setup here. For NPC, create an NPC, we're going to be spawning it. We're not setting the position just yet. We'll do that in the timer. And then we're just giving ourselves a weapon shotgun. So, and just want to note, if you need some information about cur time and the OS library, we actually have a tutorial on that in tutorial number 10, so refer to that. So the timer library, we have a very useful command called exist, which this function will take a unique identifier to a timer. So let's say we have timer and we have the user ID of a player, and the concatenation of these two strings will be the name of the timer. So if this does not exist, just like that, then we're going to create a timer. So the timer is going to have the same identifier as the one we're checking for up here. And this second argument is going to be the interval in between, or whenever the timer executes the given function. So the function is going to be this right here with no arguments inside of it. So after 1 second, we're going to execute whatever code is right here. Now, this is the number of repetitions for the third argument. So this function is going to be executed 10 times every 1 second. So that's how you think of this timer. Or you can do 0.25 seconds. You can change it up to whatever you like. If you want infinite repetitions, you just put a 0 right here. Okay, so let's go into some useful timer functions as well. So let's say we want to print, and we'll say timer reps left. So that's how many repetitions are going to be left inside the timer that we're running. And we know it's the timer that we're running because of this identifier right here. So how many reps are left in the specified timer? Okay, and let's say that the NPC's position, because we're making a teleporting zombie, which is going to teleport around the player, so we're going to need the player's position. We're going to add a vector, which is going to be random, because we want to randomly teleport around the player. So we're going to have math random for the X position, which is going to be a value between 250 and 250 units. And then we're going to be doing the same thing for the Y position. So I'll just actually copy and paste that. And for the Z position, we'll just set that to 0 because the zombie is not going to be going up and down. So that's how we create a teleporting effect. And let's say that we want to do another check for how many reps are left in the timer. So we will say that if the reps left is equal to 3, so when there are 3 reps left, in this case 7 reps have been executed, then we want to do some more stuff. So what we could do right here is, first off, we're going to take a look at timer stop. So here is our unique ID, the timer, and then user ID, just like that. So we're going to actually stop the timer. So what the stop does is it will pause the timer and then it will rewind it as well. So we can actually resume the timer with something called timer start. And there are other options you can use. You don't have to use stop and start. You can also use pause and unpause. So you'd say pause here, and if you want to unpause it, of course, you put unpause somewhere wherever you want to unpause. Or alternatively, you can use toggle as well. So what toggle does is, if the timer is paused, then it'll unpause it, and if it's unpaused, it will pause it. So you just need one command to alternate between the two, which is pretty nice. But for now, we're going to go with stop. So what we want to do then is say, okay, well, the timer will go to 3 reps and then it'll stop, and it still exists though. Just because it stopped does not mean you remove the timer. So I'm going to kill myself in the given example when we spawn inside the server, and let's do something called timer adjust. So if the timer does exist in this else condition, the specified timer, which is going to be timer user ID right here, we're going to be setting up to execute every 0.25 seconds. So it's going to start teleporting a lot faster for another 10 repetitions. And then we're going to execute the given function. So again, we can just copy and paste this. That's fine. So we're going to be printing, and let me get the rest of this code really quick. We're going to be printing this and also teleporting the zombie. In fact, let me show you something nice. So you can go to view and you can go to word wrap if things get a little too long, and that should help you see all your code a lot better. So, all right, so we have this and that set up. All the parentheses are good. And let's say that we want to make another condition if the reps are left, but this time we're going to be executing timer remove. So when there are 3 reps left in the adjusted version of the timer right here, then we're going to be removing the timer completely. It'll no longer exist. Now this naturally happens when the timer reaches 0 reps. So if I got rid of this code, it would still remove after completing its execution. And that's fine as well. So lastly, before we go into the server and test everything out, I'd like to print just one more and show you the last timer command, which is going to be time left. So this can be called outside the timer, can be called inside the timer. Again, you'd use your unique identifier to say what timer you're actually talking about. And what this does is it'll tell you how much time is left before the next execution of the function. So remember, the second argument here is time, the third argument here is reps. Okay, so that'll tell us that. Very useful information. And that's going to pretty much be all the different timer functions in one example. So let's see how this turns out, and I'll see you in the server in just a little bit. Alrighty, we are in the server, and here's our teleporting zombie, teleporting every 1 second around the player, as specified. And you see that the timer stopped at 3 repetitions, just as we coded. And note that the timer still exists, like I said. Just because you stop it doesn't mean you get rid of it. So let's kill the zombie, and now we're going to take a look at the adjusted timer once I kill myself. Alright, so now we're spawning, triggering it again. We have a fast teleporting zombie teleporting every 0.25 seconds. As you can see, we stop at 3 reps again, as we did in the code. And this time, it tells us the time left in the timer. So that's going to be around 0.25 seconds, which is what we have. And that's everything that we have for timers. So I hope you enjoyed the content. If you liked the content, of course, feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, and bell. And any questions, leave in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Don't forget to check out Hexane Networks for affordable and high-performance server hosting. That's Hexane Networks, whose link is in the description below.